habits to me, and like I said, this is kind of like a fireside chat, although we don't have a fireplace, so oceanside chat, is that has anyone ever read the book Compound? The Compound Effect? Okay, by Darren Hardy. So the compound effect is, like when you have money in the bank and you have compound interest, right? You'll never really see that money for probably a good 2 years before you start to see it grow, right? And then after you start to see it grow, it starts growing, percent at a time. So when we talk about daily habits, in Gary's One Thing book, he's talking about what are the daily habits that you can do, that by doing them, provide you the focus to get to where you need to get to. I don't know if anyone's read this book by James Clear called Atomic Habits, but he really breaks it down really simply. He goes, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, you can either be a victim of it or the architect of it, right? Mm-hmm. So going into 2020, this is a new beginning of the new decade. Is there a bad habit you want to break? And is there a good habit you want to create? So let's kind of go around and just talk about what that's about, because again, your future is decided by your habit and what are the things you're going to do to achieve. You can start as a caddy and in a year or two from now be making 6 figures, right?
That's the goal.
You can start out doing what you were doing before. And I was a server in a restaurant. It doesn't matter where you start, it's where you end up that matters the most. So what's that vision? What's that one thing? What's that look like? So let's talk. Yeah, Dean. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, only because I am going through it right now with my coach, right? And so as we look at 2020, I am basically what she's doing is we're creating a whole nother level of things that I'm not doing right now that I need to create and build as habits, because I'm trying to scale my business up to another level this year. And so basically what she's saying is that since you've never been at that level before, you first of all don't know because you haven't done it, so you have to be willing to figure it out. But secondly, you want to take all this other stuff away that you're doing to get you to the point of where I'm today. And then in order to get to the next level, I have to create new habits.
Correct.
Go into spaces that are uncomfortable for me, that I haven't done in the past, that I'm not comfortable with, and force those habits into next year so I can get to my next level. So I'm kind of in the process of what are those.
So when you say next level for you specifically, when we create goals, they have to be SMART, right? They have to be specific, measurable, right? They have to be achievable, right? They have to be realistic, and they have to be time bound. So when we look at your goal, next level, is it a unit? Is it a volume? Is it a space in the market that you want to be at? What is that?
My primary goal is volume based.
Okay, so if it's volume based, in Atomic Habits, so again, I would recommend you guys read it by James Clear. He talks about, and maybe your coach is already sharing this with you, but for you to get from here to here, you can't do 10 things. You have to pick that one thing that you are the most uncomfortable with,
right,
and create a 66 to 90 day habit. It's gonna take 66 just to be a habit, and then after that, it's gonna be kind of like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna do this. It's gonna be uncomfortable probably for the first 30 days. But by the time you hit 66, give me an example of something you're really uncomfortable doing.
Okay, so for me, it would be like I'm not big on cold calling. Right?
Okay.
So she's challenged me to cold call.
So let's start with this. The word cold is cold.
It's kind of cold.
Right? It's cold. So what it all starts when you think about the 6 personal perspectives, right? One of the things is called being learning based and the limiting mindset. But everything starts with mindset. From the moment you wake up, it's all about mindset. From the moment you go get on a call, it's all about how you address that call. So why people tweak and get really uncomfortable with the word cold call, because it's exactly what it is. It doesn't feel warm and fuzzy. What if you turn that around, Dean, and don't think about it as a cold call, think about it as a connection call.
Right.
Like I am connecting, so I turn the word prospecting to prospering. That one change of that same word changes from, oh, I'm prospering today. I'm gonna get on a call and connect with someone I've never met and help them prosper. Something about that changes the dialogue.
Mindset.
Right? It's a mindset. So the habit wouldn't necessarily be, oh my God, let's see how many of these I can do.
Right.
It would be do 2.
Yeah.
And then do 3. And then do 4. And then do 5. And then as every day goes on, you're going to go, this is easy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, the momentum doesn't start happening on cold calls until you're about the 20th person.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and once you're in a flow, and the key to cold calling, because I was a big cold caller, that's all I ever did. I was a cold caller, is you have to have the script.
Right.
So if you know the script, you're gonna say, it's gonna be 10 times easier to get on that phone call.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. So what I'm doing is a big lead generation program, so it's not completely cold calling, but I'm handing all the leads off to other people to call, but it is kind of like I've never talked to these people before.
So when you say you're handing off the leads for them to call, are you training them?
Well, it's a new program, and I'm in the process of actually training them. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and we are looking at scripts,
And that's a big key.
I've never been a big script person, but I do see the benefit of it.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, an example would be, my coach one year said, I was complaining one year, I was like, I'm up against so-and-so and so-and-so. Everyone is undercutting their commission. I'm not gonna cut my commission. And he says, you don't have to. Just know the script that causes you not to cut your commission and causes them to value your worth. And I was like, oh. So for 90 days, every day, 5 days a week, I practiced the script. I practiced the script. I practiced to the point I memorized it. So write this down about scripts. First, you have to memorize it verbatim. You don't get to do anything else until you know it word for word. Then you have to internalize it. Okay?
What do you mean by that?
So if it's a script, I'll give you an example once you write this down. So first memorize, internalize, and then customize. Okay? So now I'll go through it. So the script that I had to memorize is why was I worth 6% and everybody else was charging and willing to charge 5? That's 1% more than the other agents. And when we say 5, it's 2.5 and 2.5. I wanted 3, and it could be 2.5. So I practiced the script that said, my fee is 3. You can pay the other agent 2%. I wouldn't recommend it. I would pay them the going rate of 2.5. So the script was, whenever they'd ask about my commission, and they'd say, well, Dean came in, and Dean offered us 5%. And Katie, right? Mm-hmm. And then Katie came in, and she's at 4.5%. So now it's my turn. I'm the third person being interviewed. And then they go, so what's your fee? And I said, oh, that's easy. My fee is 6%. 3% on my side, and if you want to be generous, 3% on the other side. If you don't want to be generous, my fee is 3%, and you can pay them 2.5, which is the going rate. Any other questions? Okay, then they'll come back with, well, Dean came in here, and he offered us 5, and then Katie came in and 4.5. Why should we pay you 3? So I practiced that script. So I practiced those 2 scripts back to back because I knew it would be either I got them at the first one or they come back with another objection. Do you know in that year, 1/3 of my listings were at 6%?
Wow.
So even if I didn't win the other 2/3, I made 1/3 more money than I would have if I hadn't memorized that script. So when I say internalize it, I had to be confident enough to internalize my worth on that script. And when you're cold calling, you literally have 2 minutes to capture that person's attention on the other side. It's about tonality, and it's about the words that come out of their mouth.
I have a question. What would you do if somebody said why are you worth 6%?
Why am I worth 6%?
Yeah.
I would go into it, and the example is the other part of the script. So it's a whole script, but like I said, I memorized it. So it flowed, like, it was great. When I would say it, they would look at me and they go, you're right, that makes total sense. Because I was internalizing that word. And I exuded that confidence to the question that my point, that they didn't question it. So I'll tell you, so let's do it. So ask me that question.
Why are you worth 6%?
So let me ask you, I'm sorry, your name again is Corey. Corey, let me ask you a question. When Katie came into your house to present you with her listing package, and we all have the same things, marketing, we almost all do the same things. I may do something a little bit different. So I can understand why you're asking me that. So when Katie walked in, I presented you her package, and then went through all of that, how long did it take you for Katie to be at 4.5%? Meaning, was it on her contract, or did you have to negotiate with her a little bit? Answer that.
I had to negotiate.
How long did it take you?
5 minutes.
Okay, cool. Now, Dean, when he walked in there, and I'm not even going to say their names because you may not have told me their names, and I'm never going to ever insult another agent. So I'm going to say, so when the other agent came in, you said he offered you 5%. Now, again, he showed you his presentation. He went through all that. How long did it take him to go to 5%?
Well, it was on his contract.
Ah, it was on his contract. So let me explain to you, is your home the biggest asset that you own?
Of course.
Okay, so in the normal way of doing real estate, if an offer comes in on your property, you're unlikely to see the offers. I'll manage them first and I'll look at them. So let's say 3 or 4 or 5 properties come in. So my orientation and mindset is I'm a full fee agent, meaning I am not going to negotiate the price of your property down. So I'm going to give you an example. You just had 2 agents walk in and discount their fees in less than 5 minutes. Wouldn't you want an agent that is a full service orientated mindset agent that's going to fight for the full price of your property that it's listed for?
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So again, my fee is 3%, and that's exactly what I do.
And you sounded so confident.
Yeah, and you know what? You're gonna
That's cute.
sit there and you're gonna go, you're right, I wouldn't see the offers. And so if someone is presenting a fee that's minuscule, I mean, in the scheme of things, if I'm listing $1.5 million home, that 1% is very meaningful for you. But 1% on a commission of 5 or 6 is a couple thousand, $10,000, $5,000. So what I did was, I didn't say they were bad. What I said was, this is my fee. This is how I negotiate. This is what's important for me, that I fight for you and I have that full price mindset, or get you over full price. So when I talk about scripts, it's about memorize the script full on. Don't customize it until you've memorized it, and then internalize the information as if you've done it. And let's say you've never listed a property, or you've never cold called or trained anyone to cold call. Act as if you have, and make it a conversation, not an accusation. Because the minute people try to defend a commission is when they lose. I'm not defending my commission, I'm just giving you an explanation of, and I asked you questions, right? I said, when they walked in, I didn't say, oh my God, they're bad for doing that. I made you think.
Yeah.
Because when you say why, you put people on the defense. But when you say when and how, you put people in they imagine and they envision. So when I said, when Katie walked in, how long, isn't your home the biggest asset you own? I didn't say, why is it important for you to get less of my commission? I didn't say that, because you would want to defend that, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So internalize it, and then you can customize it.
I always take the commission discussion one layer even deeper, and tell people that I would never come in here and offer to
Discount.
make an 80%
Yeah.
effort to sell your property.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can't do that really. So
Yeah.
I got 3%. So I don't really know how to do 80% effort.
Right.
And I also bring up the subject of responsibility and liability. We're liable for the entire purchase price of the transaction, right? I'm doing a $10 million
Yeah.
deal. That's the exposure. So to ask people to discount, people tend to look at commission as an amount of money, and I think I always try to make it about the responsibility and the liability of facilitating
Yeah.
a $10 million transaction and being responsible
Oh,
for
yeah.
it. So if you were willing to sign a release of liability for me against future,
Right.
future claims against us, and that'd be one thing, because then what we asked me, we had a guy come in, want to do 1% on the seller listing or something like I said, would you give us a full indemnification against any claims,
Yeah.
legal claims in the future? And the guy was like, what? Hell no. I said, well then, why would?
Well, especially you,
why would
Dean,
do
you're
that?
dealing with very high end.
Right.
I mean,
So
so your explanation and conversation has to be that, in that level, because 1% of a $10 million home for a seller is like, oh, I'm discounting, and you're like, I'm not a discount agent,
Right.
I'm a full service,
Right.
responsible agent.
Right.
Especially for your $10 million
Exactly,
home.
yeah.
And then when they go into, well, Joe said he'd come in here, he's a luxury agent, and
Right.
he said he'd do it for 1%. So, oh, great, so will he also take on the liability and
Right.
responsibility for
Right.
1%? So,
For your $10 million
yeah,
property?
right.
You want me to try 80%?
Yeah, right. So the cold card part, getting back to what he's saying, the script is, whatever script you use or have your people use, make it so it's more of an offering than it is a, hey, do you want to sell your home, or you called, or say, it's all about, would you be open or interested, because the market is really amazing right now, to understand or hear about whatever the lead is saying.
Yeah.
So it's got to be an opening question to invite them in that conversation.
Right.
So that 1% habit, so for him, it's the cold call part. So it starts with the mindset, changing prospecting to prospering, changing cold to connect. Whatever you gotta tell yourself, because whatever you put out there is what your brain receives, either as a fear
Right.
that you're gonna move away from, or something you're moving towards.
Can you tell me what your volume goal is, like what your actual was this past year, what your goal is in volume and units?
Me?
Mhm.
God, I didn't hit 40
Sorry.
million, which was my goal this year, so like 35 million. My goal next year is 60 million, which is kind of a big
Yeah, it's a
leap, but
big jump.
my goal is to get to $100 million in 8 years,
Yeah.
which is a big jump, and there's a huge leap, but I put a lot of things into place at the end of this year to be able to get from 35 to 40 to 60 million.
And how many units is that for you? Or is that really bleary because you have $8 million listings?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
not,
yes,
it's not that
he's
many,
got-
it's 20,
So you can't really put a goal on units, like I can
No.
put a goal on units in
yeah,
a
I don't
snap,
do
but
it's more
Yeah.
volume.
how many units do you think? You say 23?
22, something like that.
Wow.
I mean, I don't even know what that extrapolates to, I have to check,
I have to do 108 units to get 30
Right.
million.
What?
Right.
Where do
Where's
you
my
live?
paperwork, girl?
Yeah.
Chicago.
You need
Our
a-
average sales price
you
is
need a team to do that.
283.
Yeah.
Yes, I have 2 people right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean,
Good for
he
you.
will at some point need a team too, but it doesn't have to be a large team. All he
Right.
needs is a real admin
Right.
and a great lead generator and a buyer's agent.
And that's pretty much what I'm.
That's all
aiming
you
up on.
need.
It's all new for me, so I'm going.
Yeah, I
I have
mean-
an assistant, I have a transaction coordinator, and I have 3 buyer agents kind of thing that to respond to leads that I generate. It's a team.
How many hours a week do you think you work?
Oh, this isn't the post-it ones.
I work every day pretty much. Yeah.
I mean,
I
when
mean,
Gary,
it's not all day every day, but it's something called.
There's something going
what
on.
Gary says in the MREA is an agent like Dean who's doing high end, high volume. He really only needs, so this is Dean, right? So Dean, CEO, right? He needs an admin,
Do you have one now?
and that admin may do marketing, may do TC, because again, it's not about units for him, it's more about customer service.
Sorry.
Right? And then you may need a buyer's agent, right? And then on this side, for the smaller deals and that next level of business that you want to do, this is where you need the lead generator, right? And so that's all you need right now. And then at some point, as you go from 20, 30, 60, 100 million, in your world, you're gonna need a concierge.
Yeah, it's more admin for me.
Yeah. But this is the first and most important hire,
I have that.
right?
I've had it for 12
That,
years.
yeah, right, which is great, but there's a reason why you're hitting a ceiling. So it's either you're missing that
Yeah.
additional help,
Yeah, that.
or you're missing that additional
So I
help.
just launched into a major lead generation campaign.
Great.
Uh,
But then you're gonna need, if you're not comfortable and your strength's not picking up and, you know, scrubbing them and dealing with them, make sure you hire somebody
I got 3
that-
people right now.
that are humble, hungry, and smart. Those are the three areas you're looking
Right.
for, that are hungry and that they're gonna get back to these people within less than a minute. And who's gonna track that, right? So you gotta make
I
sure
have
you're
a
on,
system.
yeah,
I
but
have-
that's, the key is the people here,
Correct.
is the people.
Well, I'm gonna have more, I'm generating a lot of leads, like 500 in 2 months.
That's
But
a lot of
It's a lot of
leads.
leads, but the conversion is not, as good as I'd like it to be. So I'm trying to look at the right people and,
It's all gonna be about
yeah.
doing the process and asking the questions. And here's the thing, I was just in a meeting yesterday. You really should contact Adrian and Tantilio. They have a 4-page interview process
Oh my God, I know.
for all their lead generating
Yeah.
people, and they'll give it to you.
Yeah,
And it's an interview process. They do the KPA. I mean,
I saw the,
yeah, but it's,
we
you
went to
know,
the class, I think they were talking about it, yeah.
but it works.
Yeah.
It works, and it took them 12 years to create that.
Wow.
Yeah, it took them 12 years. So don't reinvent the wheel. You have the resource.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you lead generate for $10 million property?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, for him, he has a
It's a special
source.
situation.
Yeah, well, and he has a source now, but his lead gen, what would be your average price on those property, like $1 million,
Yeah, so on the
500,000?
lead generation stuff, which is Facebook and Google ads primarily, there's 3 properties that I have that get all the attention, and they price between $985,000 and $1.3 million. And then, my other ones that are super high end don't get a lot of attention on those, but you don't want necessarily a lot, just want good quality, right? So most of it is on that $1 million price point,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what
what
I
most people
figured.
can afford. It's on Facebook, everyone
Yeah.
sees it and they click on it. So most people, what they're doing is they're seeing an ad come up on Facebook with a pretty picture, they're clicking on it, then they are trying to see more pictures, and it'll prompt them to fill in their name, email address, and phone number. And they 500 in the last 2 months fill it out.
I would,
That's crazy.
I'm telling you right
Wow.
now,
That's
if I was a newer agent,
That's what I do.
and I've done at least 3, I would pick someone, when I say newer, what I mean by that is they have had to have already done 3 deals. Why I'm telling you this is because you know they can convert.
Right.
And you know that they've done the contract, and you know they can have the conversation. I wouldn't hire anyone that hasn't done 3 deals
I
to
see
me.
what you're saying, yeah.
I wouldn't have a brand new agent scrub those leads and go through that, not at all. I would want them to have 3 deals under their belt. And I would even go through our top-down list of the company, anyone who's a quarter to half capper, and give them the opportunity for that.
Right,
That's how you get the right converters on.
right.
So that's the one habit, right, that he's gotta kind of get through this year. So what's yours?
Well, it's what kind of a phenomenon is it for me to be here in Hawaii for 6 weeks? And what do I do when I'm here? Do I go on listing appointments? No. Do I go out with my buyers? No. So it was this really clean break that I was able to make to let my buyer's agents do their thing. Because I always felt the uncomfortable of, but they're my people. They
I
want
need
me
to know,
to show
yeah.
them homes. They want me. No, they don't want me. They want what I have
service.
to offer
Yes.
and the service. So
Yep.
I've created that. So the next step is all of these meetings I've gone to and masterminds I've been to in the past calendar year all are impressing upon us, make your calls, make your calls, make your calls. Well, just somehow, some way, when I'm here, I know if I'm up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's 10 a.m. in Chicago.
Yes.
The shit's already hit the fan, my admin's taking care of it, what do I have to do? Oh, I'm gonna make my calls. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make my calls, I dial, I walk up and down the boardwalk, I sit in my car, my calls, whatever. So what does that turn into? Wow, like the biggest month I've ever had, March 2017. Oh, and then again, March 2018 blew it away, and then March 2019. Because I'm
great.
making these calls
Connecting
in
with people.
December
Yeah.
and January. So how do I do that? Because there's so much that I feel like I need to do when I get home. Well, why don't I just shut it down? And I think it's the time difference. I have to figure out how to make this work. Because at 6 a.m. here, what else is going on? You
Yeah.
know? So my family's sleeping, I go make calls for 2 hours, and it works, and I get these leads. And then I feed leads to my buyer's agents.
Yeah.
I feed them to my listing agents when they're
I
home
think
and I'm not here.
But I think
Yeah.
that when you're at home, it's time blocking.
Yeah,
You just have to block in your schedule.
Yes.
I mean, you just put in your schedule, and then when you
Yeah.
get your schedule, like, oh, okay, I gotta.
Yeah, so what
I
do I
mean,
have to
it really
change?
is, you know.
I have to
Yeah.
change my workout. I have to
Right.
work out at 5 a.m. instead of at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. I have to change the way I communicate with my team. So what do I do when I'm here? Well, they love
Okay,
it 'cause
so
I'm not talking to them.
so if I can ask you, what is the one thing you wanna accomplish out of today on a habit?
Make
what-
the same amount of
Time
calls
block.
I'm making here in Hawaii when I get home.
Okay, so what time do you do it here?
6 a.m. to 8 a.m.
And that is what time there?
10 a.m. to noon.
And people are answering their phones?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the habit, right? You have to, whatever you have to change
Work around that time
is
block.
work around that time block.
Work it
That's,
out.
That's
Yeah.
when I feel like I need to micromanage things. So I
but
have
see,
to
that's what you said, 10 to 12. You have to make that your new habit.
Yeah, that's
You-
the thing,
you
yeah.
gotta
that's a-
just
That's a good one.
10 to 12, you go to everybody and go 10 to 12, I'm lead generating.
That's it.
That's
So
a good
don't bother me, don't call me, I come out, unless someone's burning down a house, it's not, you guys,
then
yeah.
call the fire department.
Right, so,
That's my admin tells
so
me.
that's the habit, and do
Yeah.
that for 66 days.
Yeah.
You can
And
do
mark it in all your calendar, that's your green time.
You have to honor your calendar. That's one
Yes.
of the biggest
Yeah.
challenges I had was that I just winged it every day. I had
Yeah.
no plan for anything. And to try to do what I'm trying to, you hit the plateau because you run out of time. You know, time is an obstacle, and the obstacle way to past that obstacle was by just being so much more purposeful and diligent about honoring my calendar and committing to the calendar. So
Thank
in
you.
a week in advance, every 8 a.m. on Monday morning, I have a coaching call. Nothing really, generally, I never have to change it. It
Because
used
it's
to
there.
be ways to work around my schedule. I can do it here, here, and now we're just like, screw that. We're gonna do it every
Right,
Monday morning at this time, and you work it out.
yeah. And so what
You
is
honor
the
it.
habit for you specifically on the cold calling? How many do you wanna make?
I think it's just the commitment to get better at it.
Okay.
And learn the scripts and do it. And I'm not totally uncomfortable with it. It's just something I've never done, so I'm not good at it. Maybe.
I think it would start with the scripts.
Start with the scripts.
It would just start with the
Learn
scripts.
You come up with a, like a committed plan. I just need to commit the time and effort to research it to be more comfortable when I'm on the call.
Yeah,
And so looking at scripts is one part of it, but just really practicing.
you know what you have going for you, right, already, like without even your accent.
Accent.
No, seriously, I'm
Without-
not even kidding.
Right.
Without even thinking about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
you already have the accent going for you.
Right.
So if you could just memorize an opening script and
Right.
feel
Wait,
comfortable
so yeah.
and just, see, here's the problem. If I tell you, okay, so what, I'm trying to get a day and a number from you. So if you
Right.
keep saying, well, I'm gonna practice it,
It's not good
I'm
enough.
gonna learn it, and then I'm gonna get on a call and I'm coming back here in 2 weeks and I go, so how many people did you call? You're gonna go, well, I'm still studying the script.
No.
So
I can
to
show
make
you
you
that.
accountable
No,
is,
I'm getting leads every day.
Okay.
And I pick up the phone and calling, and so I'm not sure that it's a numbers game for me because I have tons of leads there that I can call.
wait a minute. So you're getting the leads. All you're doing is calling them back and saying,
It's not even cold, it's warm.
Yeah, no, it's warm. It's kind of warm because they've already been.
It is
so
warm.
I call them up and really I'm just saying, hey, I'm following up on a Facebook property search
right?
request that we received from you, and I was just curious to know if I could help you and help you with your search and just something, just basic.
That's easy.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to do really is what I'm sensing is that people, it's kind of creepy for people when they're on the computer. and
But
hit
then
it- and
they
hit
fill
a
out
button,
Do
hit
they fill out
They
something?
do fill out as something, but
Okay.
it's not saying, oh, someone's going to call you.
Yeah.
They're thinking they're going to get more photos and stuff, which is true. But when you call, what I'm finding is that they're like, what? Who's this? What? Like looking around like, this is creepy,
They gotta know
so,
it's AI.
So I think immediately I got to go in with something softer to say, hey, but I haven't figured out what it is yet, but that, hey,
I
I
have.
don't
Here we
see,
go.
don't
I
see
have.
like this is creepy.
I
or
have.
anything,
I
but,
have.
okay,
Do they give you a phone number?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a.
Okay. Okay.
Yummy. I wanna be
So
on your
the
team. Oh my
so
God.
the minute this comes through, the minute it comes through, you create a templated text.
I have one. Where it goes out.
It goes out right away and it says, "Thank you for your interest, blah blah blah. You can expect a call soon from one of our representatives or our
Maybe I
client
should
service."
add it on there, yeah.
Yes, this is what
So
I'm
they're
saying.
expecting it, yeah.
So that when you call, say, "Hey Joe, I just saw that you clicked on, would you care for more information? How can I help you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah, and I just think I'm
And that has to
looking for
happen
like a
pretty
soft
quick.
introduction that someone is going to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Not like, what? That's weird. You know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
you
so the
send,
photo,
so
I
the
mean-
minute that comes through and you get their info, an automatic text, and there are programs now that will do it for you.
And I've got the whole.
Right.
Tell me what the text says again.
Well, it would say, thank you for your
Someone's
interest.
gonna call you.
Thank you for your interest in our property or you don't even have to say the address. Thank you for your interest in our Maui property. One of our client customer service reps will be giving you a call. And that's it. You can expect a call. Hey, Michelle.
Hi, sorry
Yeah,
I'm late.
that's what I need to do.
You can expect a call, and then boom. So now you're tracking it, and now you call.
I'm with the follow-up boss.
Yeah.
Follow-up boss is
Oh,
a really good
follow-up
CRM.
boss is
Yeah.
great. Follow-up boss is great.
It's amazing. Now, command, I haven't converted to command completely because bars I'm working with,
Right.
it's saying it's not 100%.
Yeah,
full,
it's
so
okay.
it's
Stay with
yeah.
follow-up boss until you
But it's
track.
all in there. I mean,
But
it's automated
that's the
text,
thing.
automated email.
But that's you really. You're not cold calling. You're really warm calling.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So by
That's
the
what I'm
end of the day, you literally will have contact. If you're getting 500 leads
2 months.
in 2 months, that's 250 leads. That's almost 70. That's what 61. Yeah, that's 60 leads a week.
Yeah, we can, yeah, that's about right.
That's 60 leads a week.
7 to 10.
That's 10 to 15 leads a day. You're done. Just make that your system and habit
Right.
in that time frame. So text goes out, you call them, hey, thank you for, we just sent you a text, I'm so-and-so, and, I represent blah, 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 and I understand you're interested in one of our properties, what can we help you with?
Right.
And if they're like, oh no, well, I'm just looking, fantastic. In the future, feel free to, this is our
Yeah,
number,
a
however
lot of
we can
those,
help
yeah.
you, click.
No, generally it's exactly that, yeah.
Is this
I already have an automated text, I have an automated email, it goes out instantaneously,
Yes.
and then we try to get a call.
Yeah,
as soon as possible.
there you go. So the script just has to be an opener and a warm,
Well, I think that's
aloha, aloha, and especially if you're calling from Hawaii, so they're not gonna think it's weird at all.
They
So
love
now
that.
it's like-
They're
yeah,
just gonna be,
they
you
love
just
it.
say
But I
aloha.
think that's right, that to include something in the for initial text is someone with an accent is gonna be calling.
Yeah. You know what, but they're gonna love that. Literally, if you called me, I'd be like, ooh, this nice voice, and it started with aloha, and oh yeah, I am actually interested. Yeah, I was looking at your property and blah blah blah. Is it available? I mean, that's a full service agent.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
So you might as well, so you're getting 10 leads a day. So if you're not getting to them, you need to hire somebody that will.
Is that the
Oh,
LG category?
Yes.
Tell me, is this a new thing in the?
This is the organizational
Tell me,
chart.
tell me how this lead
I have
agent
one,
person is. This is a do they have a license? Are they?
Of course,
Is this
yeah.
an ISA?
Well, it can be an ISA, but they have to have a license.
They have to have a license.
To talk real estate, they have to have a license.
And
They're not
show.
called, what's great about the ISA is the inside sales agent, is if you're busy and you're dealing with your multi-million-dollar properties, you need someone at the desk or somewhere as your ISA every day to get on top of those leads. Because if you do not contact them within less than 1 minute, from initial contact, you've lost them. They're gonna go to the next person or the next property. So you can't expect it to be on call.
Right.
So you really need somebody who's an ISA, and that ISA can be someone in the office already working in the company that's done 3 deals, but they need more leads. And their sole job is to scrub that list. You shouldn't be doing a $10 to $20 an hour job.
Right.
And then
I'm
those
trying
people
to
show.
engage. I want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm very new at it, so I'm trying to figure
Well,
out.
do it first, and then what you're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
start to
yeah.
find, is you're gonna get oh my gosh, I have to talk to 50 of these
Right.
before I get one real
Because what
person.
I'm trying to do is filter down. I don't really need 500 leads. What I'm looking for is less higher end leads. So I'm trying to filter the system.
But you're scrubbing them.
Yeah.
That's causing you to scrub it.
Right.
I would hire somebody to scrub, meaning I would get myself an ISA, that you give me the ones that actually, and you give that ISA the script to find out and the questions to find out.
They hand it to Dean and then Dean
Yeah,
hands it to
and then Dean, you go, oh, okay, they deserve me to call them back. Cause you are at that level.
Say that again, so when would I do that?
Okay, so here's the thing. Someone just did something on your thing. The ISA, not you, texts them back. You can expect a call from blah, 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 right? They call, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I work with Dean and Associates and we blah, blah, blah. We saw that you clicked on this property. How can we help you? Oh, well, you know, I'm really looking at a property in the 1.5 million. This is a little bit high for me, whatever the deal is. But then you're like, ISA, I want all the calls of anyone interested in over $1 million. So they're scrubbing that for you. Then if it's like less than $1 million, you can decide, oh, this person gets that call, right? Then the 1 million and up call goes to you. That's your up call. Then you call them. Then it's a warm call. It is not a cold call.
Right.
Because your ISA already scrubbed it. You should not be scrubbing it. You should have someone scrub it.